Yeah, the Olympics are fun though.
There are. I think I'm stealing this bit from a comedian. Can't give him credit because I don't remember who it is. But I think to give a true representation of like how athletic a country is, because that's what the Olympics kind of is.
Right.
Instead of sending your best athletes, there's a draft. Like 6
just
months
gotta
before the
pick.
Olympics, you like get a letter and it's like, you're playing rugby. Get ready.
Get
Suit up.
ready.
We'll see you in Paris.
Imagine if it was like getting called for jury
my
duty
God.
and you just like had to like call out of work, be like, I just got drafted.
Hey, gotta
to the
go.
I gotta go compete for my country.
That would be actually
Awesome. I don't know, but welcome to No
There
Dumb
it is.
Questions, where we scour the internet for questions about personal finance that we think don't get talked about enough. I'm Reagan,
I'm Isaac.
I'm Ashton.
and we are just getting right into it today.
Yeah,
Go for
Straight
it.
for it. What is the difference between saving and investing is one that I think comes up a lot in our generation because, well, I hear it on other podcasts talking about like, do I need to save if I'm already, maxing out my 401k? Like that's my savings for retirement or this and that. And I think maybe the concept of an emergency fund isn't talked about enough.
Yeah.
And having cash on hand for expenses.
Yeah.
So when do y'all define emergency fund? Like, what do you think? I don't want to say advice, but
I feel like textbook or typical things that I've heard, and you can jump in, about 6 months worth of like your rent, food, like things that you would have to pay. If something crazy were to happen, if you lost your job or if you had this crazy medical expense or whatever, you had that kind of just on hand ready to spend for whatever purpose you need. And I've always heard like 3 to 6 months, I guess.
Yeah.
Would be maybe more. I lean on the more 6 months.
6 months
just
for
'cause,
sure. Yeah, there's different stipulations. I know Ash and I are both going through our CFP courses right now, and they talk about there's like weird little rules. Like if you're employed and single, it's this much.
Yep.
If you're employed and married, but your spouse isn't, there's like a weird flow chart that I don't want to get into. But yeah, 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. I just think in basic, for example, me, I'm single, I have a dog. My non-discretionary expenses are very different than you who has a wife and newborn child.
Yeah.
But either case, we
We're big
both
on the
need
6 months.
6 months. Yeah, maybe 6 to 12 months for you. But either way, like I feel like 6 months is a good baseline for everyone, counting like your whole situation, not just 6 months for you personally. It's kind of who else are you supporting?
Yeah, my wife and I have a good friend who no financial literacy background at all, works in social services, like does great, amazing work, but just like no one's ever taught her that. And she came over whenever Graham, my son, was born to see him, and we kind of had a conversation about emergency funds because she was thinking it's probably time to work on that a little bit. And she had called us like a couple months later, and she had saved up $2,000, and she was like so proud. It's the first time she's ever had anything in her savings. And then like the next day, texts me and goes, "Just hit a pothole, popped a tire, savings is gone."
Yep, there it goes.
But she was super bummed it was gone. But I was like, well, imagine how bad that would be if you had to put it on a credit card or you couldn't do it, and like your car just had to sit. You had to tow your car home, sit in the driveway until you could afford to fix it, pay the tow guy. Like, it's incredibly important to have cash on hand for stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do y'all do to practice like that savings muscle? Like, do you have like a rule, like X percent or a little trick or something to grow your savings account?
I know there are certain percents that you should be saving from your income and stuff, and it of course increases with age and your salary and all that. But I feel like when you're starting out, just anything you can do to really kind of track your spending, I feel like is a huge part of starting that savings, because if you don't know where your dollars are going, that's going to be a huge problem.
Yeah. I had sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're fine.
When I was a freshman in college, we had a course that talked about, like best savings practices and because you're a freshman, like it's your first time really budgeting for yourself, depending on when I was coming out of high school, like I didn't have any of that. And they said this was in 2014. So like people still used cash, but, every night when you get home, take your singles out of your wallet and like put them in a jar or put them in a drawer. And obviously I don't do that as much now, but when I was in college, by the end of the semester, I'd have a couple, $100, $200 in a drawer of singles.
Yep. Okay.
That I would use to go get groceries. So that was a cool one.
I think like I'm very visual, so I liked in college especially too. I liked to write out. I literally just put pen to paper and would like write out categories. You can do that in Excel.
Yeah.
Or like now they have apps and stuff like that, but also the writing it out part was like I'm actually saying I'm going to spend this much here and this much here. It feels a little different.
Do we get in trouble if we shout out apps? Producer question.
Say not sponsored.
Okay.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Rocket Money is awesome. I love Rocket Money.
Rocket Money, please sponsor.
That'd be great. Please
Yes.
sponsor Rocket Money. If
Not
somehow
sponsored,
you
but
see
we'll
this,
take
we would
it.
love it.
Yeah,
I use
sure.
it all the time. It's great.
I'll download it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like it creates a visual, like kind of what you're both saying, like when you can actually see the numbers, and then like if a big purchase, if you swipe your card and it's over like X amount, your phone dings. It's like, hey, that was a lot of money. And then you kind of, it's like you getting bullied a little bit by your phone. Like, hey, quit spending so much money.
Chill
That's
out.
great.
That's funny.
But I think also like really what we're all saying is having a purpose for those dollars is super important. I even think Ashton said the words, like having a purpose for dollars is like, if you are just saving to save, and it's a little different as you get older, you more need a purpose. When you're young, sure, saving to save works, but having a purpose for those dollars is very important. Knowing what you're saving for, what, if this is this dollar going to be for groceries or for going to the vet with my dog or for this, or maybe it's for fun.
Yeah. I think it's a good practice to like make the connection between the purpose and like money's just a tool.
Yeah.
So you get to, that's the currency that we use to make our lives fun and interesting, and also kind of, painful sometimes depending on what you're paying for.
Yes.
But I think just like making the connection between the purpose and the tool that money is a good way to help save or put into place the savings.
Right.
But I think it's good to budget for like fun things too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like, what do you guys, what's like non-negotiable? And maybe it's not monthly. Like I would say mine's not monthly, but I keep a stash for traveling.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Oh, yeah.
young,
That's a good
single,
one.
and I have family and friends like all over the country, and I've got some friends internationally. So I always want to have some money where I'm putting money each month towards like, hey, I'm going to have this on hand so that whenever my friend's like, hey, I'm going to, go over here. Do you want to come with? I'm like, yes,
absolutely.
I am.
Right.
I'll buy my ticket right now.
Yeah. Right.
So what about y'all? What do you think?
Mine's a little
Well, yeah.
weird. Well, yes. Mine's also not monthly.
Okay.
I love, and it's the most bougie thing ever, I love getting my car detailed.
Okay.
Like once a year,
Yeah.
just literally just scrape. Because I have a big dog at home, and then when I get him in the truck, it's never clean ever again. You can't get dog hair out of anything, so I make it somebody else's problem. and also it's like a good gift, like to my wife. It's awesome for her. Like it's just such a like nice thing. You don't know how nice it is until you do it, and then I just did it once, and now I'm addicted to getting my truck.
It is nice.
Can't do it all the time. It's expensive, but like once or
Yeah.
twice a year, love it. Yeah, it's got to go in the budget.
That's fair. That's a good one.
What do you think?
Mine, I don't know if it's monthly or not. It's just kind of like whenever I feel like it. But I really love going to the movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that experience. That's been a huge part of my childhood.
What do you get? Like, do you get
What's the-
popcorn
ooh,
and
yeah,
a
what's the
drink?
snack?
And like, what,
Okay.
every time is there like
Yeah.
I
Okay.
do this?
Popcorn is a must.
She just got really
Has to-
excited.
yes.
I know.
Like,
I
there
See that in her
are
eye, the twinkle.
there are rules when you go to the theater. If you don't get movie theater popcorn,
Yep.
get out. What are you doing?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Coke, icy, and then most of the time peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
And that's my setup. Sometimes feeling a little candy, but
Gotta get
the
candy,
core is peanut M&Ms, popcorn,
Do
Coke.
you put the M&Ms in the popcorn or just on the side?
I'll just on the side,
Just kind of mix
I've
and
seen.
match.
Are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
are you a mixer?
No.
I don't know a single person, but I see it all the time.
I tried, and it's
Can't.
not for me.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
not
Yeah.
for me.
I would.
Yeah.
I'd
I
rather
don't think
just
I'd like it.
control my ratios myself.
That's exactly what it
Yeah.
was for me too. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
I knew I was getting older when I went to the movie theater and I bought. What are the mint ones?
Ew, I don't
They're
know, but
gr-
that's
you
like
know
gross.
the candy.
peppermint
Yes,
patties?
but they have like the box.
You bought that?
I did.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm so excited for this. I was getting old.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody.
You got any gray
purchase
hair?
that.
Sheesh.
They're on their way. They're on their way. Actually, mine just falls out. That's it now.
Oh my gosh.
What kind of on the same like budgeting thing, like we've talked about kind of the fun side of
Yeah.
budgets, but like the not fun side is debts, minimum monthly payments, things that really eat into being able to save.
Mm-hmm.
Like what if you either of you have had any sort of debt in your life, like what are your practices going towards attacking that and paying it down?
Well, I just came out of college, so
There it is.
we all know
There
what that
There you
means.
go.
Yeah, and I transferred schools, and
Mm-hmm.
COVID and all of that stuff happened. So I have 2 loans from different schools. One was out of state, one's in state, so they look very different.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to start paying our loans back, I think, until like April is when they started this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled up Ed Financial and I looked at all of mine because I didn't even know like what the layout of my loans was. I really hadn't looked at it before because I
Yeah.
wasn't paying them before until I heard that they were going to start. So I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. And turns out I actually have like 7. They're broken into, like 7 different loans. And the interest rate on them goes from 2 all the way up to 7%. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so, of course, immediately I'm targeting that 7% loan because obviously that's going to grow at a higher rate. So that's kind of been my, strategy
Yeah.
for paying those debts off. And I kind of take that into account with all of the other loans that I have because I have a house, I have a car, all of that. So it's just, I'm going by what's the biggest rate and then just kind of throw in as much as I can at it.
So you're more debt avalanche than the debt snowball,
Yeah.
which if you're watching and you don't know what either of those are, you've probably never heard of Dave Ramsey, but he really drives home this debt snowball where you attack the lowest balance and then whatever the payment was for that, you stack it onto the next one. It creates this snowball effect. What Ashton's describing is a debt avalanche, which similarly, except you go after the highest interest rate and pay that down first and then stack the payments. And so theoretically takes longer, but less
interest.
towards interest.
Yes.
And so it's different for everybody, but yeah, the avalanche makes more sense in a lot of cases, especially the one it sounds like with yours.
And I feel like it also makes it a little less painful because I can go in and see how much of my payments are going towards interest and how much of them are going towards principal. And if I see like more going towards the interest than towards the principal, that makes me upset.
Yes,
I'm
that
genuinely like,
That
ugh.
hurts.
I hate, like, I just want to get the interest gone and then start paying. Because if you never pay your principal, then your interest, it's just going to be a vicious cycle. So.
Yeah. Have you given a purpose to those dollars you're spending on the debt? Like whenever you don't have to make those payments?
Oh, I haven't even thought about it yet. We've
Okay.
got a long
We're a long
way
way
to
to
go.
go.
Got a little. I'm not gonna let myself think about
Don't
that
even
yet.
think. Don't
I feel
get
like
excited.
I feel like it depends on your personality
Sure.
a little bit of if like which way you go about it. Because I can see the argument of the snowball. It's like, okay, we're gonna get the ball. Literally, we're just gonna get it rolling. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna get a win early on right away.
Pay off
that,
one.
Yeah, it's kind of like gives you the motivation to keep going
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to keep getting to it. But then, and maybe that's better if your personality is more
You have to
keen
see it
to that.
happening.
Like you
Sure.
have to see it
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
If your personality is more like, I'm just gonna like, I know it's gonna suck, but I'm just gonna do this like
Mhm.
and make a big dent
Yeah.
early on
Yeah.
and kind of have like a delayed gratification sort of. It just
There-
depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
There's actually a cool video. I think it's on the Market Moment channel where Eli broke down if you should pay off your mortgage early and then investing what you were paying versus like writing out the whole 30 year. And it's like, it's really interesting video to watch. So check that out. Producer, put that in somewhere. Okay. Awesome. All right. So we're going to leave you with this. I'm going to not laugh like I did the other time. This is a good quote. Before you criticize someone, make sure you walk a mile in their shoes, because at the end of it, you'll be a mile away from them and you'll have their shoes.
And Isaac's back with another dumb quote for the week. Thank you guys for joining us. Leave your questions in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thank you.